Finally, suppose I told you that this book has been universally preserved without the slightest alteration of any kind in 15 centuries. If all of this is true, what I'm saying, if it is all true, would you agree that this book is quite profound and unique, to say the least? Would you be honest enough to say that? Of course you would, if you were honest. And you are. Within yourselves, you have to come to that conclusion. Many other non-Muslims came to the same conclusion. Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, Napoleon Bonaparte, Winston Churchill, many, I could go on and on and on. They came to the same conclusion. Whether they accepted Islam openly or not, they came to that conclusion, that there's no other literature in the world that is as profound as the Quran as a source of wisdom and healing and direction. The issue of the authenticity of the Quran, let us turn to another subject matter. The basic themes of the Quran. The supreme oneness of Almighty God, which includes His names, the attributes, the relationship between the Almighty and His creatures, and how man should maintain that relationship. The continuity of prophets and messengers, their lives, their messages, and their overall mission. The insistence upon following the final and universal example, Muhammad, the peace and blessings be upon him, the seal of the prophets and messengers. Reminding the human beings of the shortness of this life and calling them towards the eternity of this life. Calling them towards the eternity of the life hereafter. Life hereafter, meaning after here. You know, after you leave here, you're going somewhere. I mean, tonight. Well, after you die and you leave here, this earth, you're going somewhere. Whether you accept it or know about it, you're going there, and you are responsible because you have been told, even if you have rejected it. Because the object of this life is not for you to sit here and after this do nothing and have no effect. Every cause has an effect. And you came into this life for a cause and a purpose, and it must have an effect. It must warrant some sort of effect. You don't go to school to stay there. You don't go to work not to get paid. You don't build a house and don't move into it. You don't get a suit made and don't wear it. You don't grow up as a child and don't become an adult. You don't work without expecting a reward. You cannot live without expecting to die. You cannot die without the expectancy of the grave. And you cannot expect that the grave is the end. Because that would mean that God has created you for a foolish purpose. And you have not went to school or worked or done anything or chose a wife or chose the name of your children or came here tonight for a foolish purpose. How could you assign to God something less than yourself? In an attempt to capture and convince the imagination and faculties of reasoning, the Quran goes through great length and beauty to expound upon the oceans and rivers, the trees and plants, the birds and insects, the wild and domestic animals, the mountains, the valleys, the expansion of the heavens, the celestial bodies and the universe, the fishes and the aquatic life, the human anatomy and biology, the human civilization and history, the description of paradise and hell, the evolution of the human embryo, the mission of all the prophets and messengers, the purpose of life on earth. And how could a man born in the desert, a man that's illiterate and couldn't read, how could a man born in the desert and could not read and watching sheep, how could he expound upon things that he was never exposed to? The most unique aspect of the Quran, however, is that it serves to confirm all the previous revealed scriptures. And that if you should decide to become a Muslim, you do not have to consider yourself changing your religion. You are not changing your religion. If you gained weight and you had a suit and you really like that suit, you don't have to throw the suit away, do you? No. Go to the tailor and tell him, listen, put a little bit of, add a little bit of material in there because I like this suit. Just make it a little bit bigger for me. If you lost some weight, you wouldn't throw that $500 suit away. Of course you wouldn't. You'd take it to a tailor and say, listen, take this in a little bit for me, please. Make some alterations because I like this suit. Well, your belief, your honor, your virtue, your love of Jesus Christ, your attachment to God, your worship, your truthfulness, and your dedication to Almighty God, you don't change that and throw it away. You hold on to that, but you make alterations where you know that the truth has been revealed to you. That's all. Then you just have to be honest enough to know that you have lost some weight and you need to make some adjustments. Islam is simple, my brothers. Bear witness that there is none to be worshipped except Almighty God. If I ask any of you to bear witness that your father is your father, how many of you would say yes? My father is my father. My son is my son. My wife is my wife. I am who I am. Then how is it that you hesitate to bear witness that Almighty God is one, and Almighty God is the only, and Almighty God is your Lord and your Creator? Why? Are you arrogant? Are you vainglorious? Do you possess something that God doesn't possess? Do you have some secret that you want to share with us? Or are you confused? That's a question you have to ask yourself. If you thought that you would die tonight, and that in front of you was paradise and in back of you was hellfire, and you had the chance to put things straight with your conscience, and to put things straight with God, and to ask God to accept the best of your deeds, if you had the chance to do that before you died, and you thought that you would die tonight, you would not hesitate to bear witness that there is only one God. You would not hesitate to bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of God and representative of all the prophets. You would not hesitate to bear witness that you are one of those who would like to be written down in the book of God as those who submit. You would not hesitate, but you think you're going to live a little while. You want to enjoy some things. You want to drink a little bit more scotch. You want to lay down with a few more girls. You want to wear a few more fancy suits. You want to dance a little bit more. You want to sing a little bit more. You want to hang out a little bit more. And of course, you're not ready to pray every day. That's because you think you're going to live a while. But how much is a while? I see some of you, like me, is becoming bald. How much is a little while? How long ago was it when you had a full head of hair? Some of you get gray, I see. How long ago was it when it was all black? You got aches and pains in your knees and your elbows and other places. How long ago was it when you were just a child, running and playing without a care? How long ago was it? It was yesterday. Yes. And you're going to die tomorrow. So how long do you want to wait? Islam is to bear witness that Almighty God is God, the only one without any partners. Islam is to acknowledge the existence of the angels who were sent with the duty of revealing the revelation to the prophets, carrying the message to the prophets, controlling the winds and the mountains and the ocean, and taking the life of those who God has ordered to die. Acknowledging that all the prophets and messengers of Almighty God were righteous men, and they were all sent by Almighty God, acknowledging the fact that there will be a final day of judgment for all creatures, acknowledging that all good and evil has been proportioned by Almighty God, acknowledging that there will definitely be a resurrection after death. The fundamental duties incumbent upon every Muslim is simple. 5 things. Islam is like a big house. And every house has to be built with pillars and a foundation. Pillars and a foundation. And you have to build a house with rules. The pillars are the rules. And when you build your house, you must follow the rules. The 5 rules of Islam is 1, to uphold the code of strict monotheism, not to accept any partners with God, not to worship anything along with God, not to say anything about God that you have no right to say, not to say He has a father, a son, a daughter, a mother, an uncle, an aunt, a board of trustees, or anybody He has to ask, or to say anything about God that you have no right to say. To bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Almighty God. to observe the prescribed prayers, to pay the prescribed charity, to fast during the month of Ramadan, to perform the pilgrimage. One may ask the question, isn't this difficult? No, my friends, it is not. Not to those who open their minds and open their hearts and accept the truth. I put the matter before you, and you sentence yourself. You take the sentence that you want. You sentence yourself to peace and paradise, or you sentence yourself to confusion, frustration, and hellfire and punishment. You sentence yourself. You ask yourself, do I bear witness that there is only one God? And if you ask yourself that question, you say, yes, I bear witness. Do I witness that if Muhammad is who has been explained, that he is a messenger of Almighty God? Yes, I do bear witness. If you bear witness to that, then all of you and all of us are Muslims. Muslims. And you don't have to change what you were. You just have to make alterations in what you were, in your thinking and practice. That's the purpose of our life.